Welcome back to the Rich Nonprofit. I'm Lisa Avila. Today I have Gabs Hayes. It is our this is our third time getting together, but the second time talking about her nonprofit. Hi, Gabs.
Hello. I'm so excited.
I love having you on here. And today we are going to talk about our strategic planning. We are about to meet in person for the first time. We've known each other online. We met on LinkedIn, but getting together in person and strategy and nonprofit, it's like, it just makes my heart so happy.
I know. It's all the good stuff rolled up into one, and I cannot wait to meet you next week.
Yes. So I have some questions before strategic planning begins, because I want to make sure that our time together is productive and I give you what you need. And I should back up a little bit. The reason that we are doing this as a podcast episode is because we are building Gabs nonprofit in real time. And so we wanted to take all of you behind the scenes, the highs and lows, all of it. So that's why we're here.
Let's do it.
Okay. So my first question is that you're already a successful entrepreneur. So I want to know, what was different about this idea? Because we entrepreneurs have lots of ideas, right? But what was different about this idea that made you willing to invest in strategy instead of just figuring it out on your own like most of us entrepreneurs do?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I think a couple of things. One, I tend to look at things from a business lens, right? So like I think about target customer, I think about marketing, I think about all of those things, which is a huge bonus, I think, for me. But I don't know the nonprofit world, and I don't know how to shift that thinking. And I know that there's a bridge between, and there's some similarities and there's some differences. And I am a firm believer in, no matter what you do, it's going to cost you. It's either going to cost you time or it's going to cost you money. And I did the business route costing myself a lot of time. And I'm at a phase in my life where my time is a lot more valuable than my money. And so I would rather go to someone that I trust and respect, one who's walked down that road, and someone who's going to help give me a shortcut, right? Or help me avoid some of those long, windy turns that I don't need to go down. And I will also say the excitement for launching Overwhelmed and Over It and the ripple effect it's going to create has made me think bigger, bolder, and far more ideas than I ever did with business. And so I need a place to strategically contain them and give them their time and place on the spotlight, but they can't all have the spotlight at the same time.
Thank you for saying this. The women I work with are so intelligent, powerful. They have all of these ideas, and most of them want to put them out into the world today. Tomorrow. And so knowing that that's not going to happen, it makes my job easier, because when we go into strategic planning, we put them all out on the whiteboards. I love those big Post-its. Mm-hmm. And then we figure out, okay, but what's the first thing? What's the next thing? And think realistically when it comes to funding also. I wish we could all do it at once, but you do need that money to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's a big piece, honestly, right? And so I've shared in many other places that money is the most difficult relationship I have in my life. It's something I feel like I'm always working on. And so it is really interesting, because with a business, let's just say I want to go run a marketing campaign because that's for the next idea I have, I could just go throw my money at it. I don't really need to, think twice about it. I should, but you know how this goes. When you're scrappy, you just do it. And this time around, I want to harness that scrappy nature, but I don't want to show up scrappy. And so I know that that's going to take some elevation. I know that that's going to take some planning. And I know that that's going to take someone holding me accountable. And that someone is you.
Yay. And I'm so grateful to be the one. And I like that you brought up scrappy, because I do find it from business, you are scrappy as a nonprofit also, but you're more intentional. Like you said, you're not going to just throw money at it and, post on your stories and see what happens, because you are changing lives. You are impacting families. So you can't just throw it and hope it sticks, right? You
Right.
really need to be intentional with your impact. So yes, we are going to get scrappy, but in a different way, because I don't want to lose that scrappy either, because that's what makes us who we are and innovative, because we're willing to dig in and get in there and find what works.
Yeah, and I think scrappiness comes with, this is something I've really been leaning into in my corporate role too, is decisiveness and the importance of decisiveness. And that to me is really, whether you move forward or not, is how decisive you're willing to be. And when you're scrappy, there's a certain level of like, I don't ever have all the answers, so I'm just going to make one and go figure it out. And there's going to be some level of that to Overwhelmed and Over It as a nonprofit as well. But I know the families I'm trying to reach. I know the problems that they're struggling with. I know what they want their life to look like because I'm one of them, right? And my family is one of them. And so that in and of itself, I think is different in that I can make decisions scrappy and fast because I know exactly who I'm trying to help, but I don't necessarily have all the answers of how to help them. And that's where that strategic planning comes into play.
Yes, yes. So when you were going back to before you started the nonprofit, a lot of women, including myself, we kind of sit on things for years because there's always something that's we deem more important. And so I'm wondering what the fear or hesitation that almost kept you from doing this. And I don't think we've discussed this before. So I wanted to be clear on that before we move ahead with strategic planning.
Ooh, this is a juicy one. And it's funny you brought this up. I did know the questions ahead of time, but this was kind of something that was rumbling in my head as we were talking about this, because I'm ready to move fast and I'm ready to not lean into those fears, but I am scared, right? I am afraid of all of the things I did in business that didn't work because I didn't know, because I was trying, because I was doing something new. And so to be willing to step into that new again, it comes with this fear. And I also think to this day, I'm struggling a bit with, my entire goal is for Overwhelmed and Over It to grow beyond me. I want it to be bigger than me. I really want it to be a family movement. So that means everything that I know how to do is not the only level of success at this business anymore, right? It's far bigger than me. And one, am I willing to give up that control? That's hard. And that's going to be a big thing for me to work through on this journey. But two, it's how do I do new things that are bigger than me, that are bigger than my own hands can hold, right? You think about our lives as moms. We were just talking about that before we started recording. We're moms. We figure it out. It's not always pretty. It's not always what we want, but it's because those kids, we can wrap our arms around them and they're within our kind of sphere of control. But running something that's bigger than you gets outside of your own sphere of control. And am I ready for that? Have I done enough work to prepare myself for that? I think so, but until I'm in it, I won't know. And so, yeah, I have to be willing to be bold about this, to be bigger than the sphere of my own control, but also be willing to say I tried something and it didn't work, so I'm pivoting again.
Yes. And to have a safe place to land. And that's what I feel is so important about a mentor also of, I've got you. You can trust me that when it feels, and that's why I have a mentor, because when it starts to feel so awkward for me, it's because I don't know this feeling. I've never had this feeling of elevation before, but we still step into it. And she tells me all the time, your body will catch up. And I say, I don't think it will. and then I jump anyway. I mean, even talking about it right now makes me a little sweaty because it's new and it's scary. And that's hard to do new things.
There's a business coach that I love to follow, and she always says, you've got to be okay with moving big sums of money, like moving it in, moving it out, shipping it here, shipping it there. And you have to be able to do it without this like in your body when you do it, right? And I never had really paid attention to how my body reacts to these big elevation moments until I heard her say that. And now like I pay, much more attention to that, which I think is really, really important, because similarly with fundraising, I've never had someone write me a $250,000 check. But you bet your butt I'm working on it, and that will happen for this. And I will be excited because in my mind, I already know what that $250,000 check's going to do for the sheer volume of families it will be able to help.
Yes. And that in itself is worth making the ask, being afraid of making the ask, but doing it anyway. Knowing that, yes, that money is going to come and you are going to put it to such good use and change so many lives. Like, how amazing is that?
I have to tell you, I don't think you and I have even talked about this off air, but I recently went to a nonprofit like annual fundraiser night. I got invited to speak because my daughter is a member. And so they asked if I would speak and share a story. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And I had never been exposed to anything like that before. And like, y'all listen to me. I know this is crazy. I called Lisa. I'm like, I'm doing this thing. And then I realized I get invited to this fundraiser. And I'm like, I've never even been to the fundraiser, let alone do the thing myself. But here we are. This is what I do. But talking about, speaking of the ask, right? This woman who runs this nonprofit, she stood up there and kept saying, I'm not good asking for money, and then would ask for money anyway. Like, she literally said it. And I took a step back and I put myself, I'm like, okay, just in the audience's shoes, what does that do subconsciously to them when they're like, I'm scared to ask you for money, but I'm going to ask for it anyway. And it's like, it's because she really cares about her mission. And she does. There has never been a question about that for me. And people put hundreds of thousands of dollars down on the table to help her continue her mission. But that was like such an eye opener for me to see it happen in real life, because I think without that mentorship, that coaching, which she clearly doesn't have, you would be putting on this massive event to fundraise and then be afraid to do the core thing that you brought everyone together for.
Yes. For the ask. I mean, of course you want everyone there and to have fun and to be in community, but you need the money to keep going. And so you have to make the ask. And so therefore you have to lead your vision. You have to be the leader. And that isn't easy all the time. But, that's the thing about us working together. And we're in person. This is what I love about being in person. I know those subtle shifts of when the nervous system kind of shuts down. You can tell by facial expressions that you're maybe not going to catch on Zoom, where it's like, oh, okay, let's stop and talk about this a little bit more. What's making you uncomfortable? And there is some mindset work in strategy, because, right, as you're taking these huge leaps, you want to have that confidence that, okay, I know this is going to be scary and it's going to work because I have the strategy behind it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best laid plans only work if they're executed, right? And so there's that part of this. I really see our in-person weekend as just the foundation of us being able to work together and do this long term, because the bond that will be built over the weekend and the time where we will shed everything and really think bigger, think different, try new things, push me beyond my comfort zone, that creates the ability to have that safe place to feel ready to fall, right? Because come February, come March, come April, when we have our first event and you're asking me, did you do this? Did you do this? Have you followed? And I want to give you all the reasons I haven't done it because I'm scared. You're going to say, no, we picked this because this is why it's important. This is why you have to follow through with it. And that's sometimes all you need to get through the fear and into action.
Yes. I find for myself also, if I know that somebody has given me a task, I used to do this in therapy all the time. She would tell me, well, go home and do this. And then I'd come back and I'd say, okay, I did it. She's like, wow, most people don't. If you give me a task, I'm going to do it. And I find that with my clients as well. If I say, this is what I think would work well. And then, okay, well, I'll go do that because you told me to. Yeah.
Well, and I think it speaks volumes to you knowing your target audience as well, right? Like most of us are moms. Most of us either already have a business or have a career or, other things going on. And the thing we literally have the least of is not even time. It's decision capacity and being able to make decisions. And so sometimes it's just that, right? Like having the decisions laid out. And the other thing I will say why I personally was so excited for this opportunity is I know myself and I work best in batches. I work best in these really powerful go hard sprints. And then I need to slow down for a little bit. And then I'm ready to sprint and go hard again. And then I need to slow down for a little bit. So like for me, I'm coming into our strategy week and being strategic because I'm not leaving until several days after you so that I have days to go put into motion what we decide needs to be put into motion.
Thank you for doing that for you, because it can be really easy to say, I need to get back. I need the kids, the sports, all the things that we take care of. But you need that time to sit and let it stew and think about, okay, what's rising for me? What is going to work? What do I want to work on? Yes. And just rest. Because that's a lot of brain time. When I leave a strategic planning, it's usually 2 days and my brain is tired. We've done a lot of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So jumping back into family life is a little tough sometimes. Worth it, but a little much. Mama has no capacity left. That's okay. So speaking of strategic planning, are there a couple of specific questions that you're bringing to the weekend that you want to share with the viewers and the listeners?
Yeah. So I think maybe not specific questions, but specific things I'd want to go through. So, I think as any good dreamer does, I have notes and notes and notes and notes of ideas and ways I want to grow this and what I want to be true. And how do I take those raw, genuine notes, genuine thoughts, genuine ideas, and turn them into something actionable. I know what's in there is good. I know what's in there is going to change families' lives, but it doesn't do any good to just sit in those notes. And so I need help getting out of my own way and getting out of my own head and turning them into things that can actually be actionable. And then I think we said this on the last episode too, but like also someone just slap my hand and tell me, no, that's in the backlog and it needs to stay there for now.
Just for now. And that's okay. We don't get rid of it completely. We just kind of move it over to the side. Yes. And I love taking all the things, all the Post-it notes. I have a client, she's better now, but it used to be hundreds of Post-it notes of ideas and to-dos, and whoa, it was a little overwhelming. But then once you start to dig into them and distill it down to what actually matters right now, how are these going to help your community right now? And then it becomes clear. It's like, oh, and then the ones that show up that are the most important kind of stand out. And then from there, okay, now we can make an action plan around that.
Well, and I think that right now is so important, like that phrase, because I know what the ultimate end goal is for Overwhelms and Over It. But that's millions of dollars a year to operate, to run. And so it's very easy for me to sit where I am today, where I'm still filling out legal paperwork to get this thing stood up, and look at that big, big goal and say, how the heck am I going to get there? And then maybe never even do it because that part feels too far, right? Because in your mind, you're like, oh, I have to fundraise millions of dollars. I have to hire a team. But there's lots of steps that need to happen between now and then. And so I think that is something I'm really looking for in our time together too, is what it takes to hit that first level. What it takes to hit that second level. And so you may see some of these ideas that I come to the table with and you're like, yeah, incredible. The world absolutely needs that. That's level 7. We're going to put that in level 7's list. I'm going to come back to 1, right? And like, sometimes it can feel like we're putting people in a box, or like we're consuming some of the ideas down, but also like there is such this power to focus and intentionality on the effort that you're giving that you're going to go faster in the long run by having that focus.
Yes. And isn't it interesting that you talk about Overwhelm, right? I mean, that's part of the name of your nonprofit. And yet for me anyway, when you think of, oh my gosh, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of families, being helped, right there, overwhelm of like, I don't even know how to do that. And so then a lot of people would just kind of shut down and say, I can't do this. But you're not. You're stepping into it anyway, because you know you're being the leader and you're going to, I don't know if you would say push that overwhelm aside, but you're going to move through it for the bigger vision.
Yeah. And I think, you're so right to draw that correlation too. I mean, we are naming the foundation Overwhelmed and Over It because overwhelming feelings are a part of life, positive and negative. I just had a new baby. I'm overwhelmed with joy and I'm overwhelmed with what the hell did I just do? I got in a car accident. I'm overwhelmed with the fact of all the crap I have to deal with after the accident. And I'm overwhelmed with gratitude that my kids and I walked away safely. Right. And so I think there has been this perception in the world that you're not doing well until you're just footloose and fancy free and floating through the air every day. And it's like, that's just not human reality. We have overwhelming feelings. And so the and over it part is you're only willing to change when you're done with feeling that way. And so I'm done with wanting to make this difference, but not knowing how, so I don't. So I'm going to get help. And that's exactly what this whole perception is. I'm done with feeling overwhelmed as a family, so we don't spend time together. So now you will, right? And it's like, that's really what I want to look at when I think about the core top tenet of every decision we make at this strategy session and continuing on is what's the overwhelming feeling? What's the over it? And how are we going to solve that?
That is so good. That's just something to carry through life for all of us. When you have your foundations office, you print that up on the wall as people walk in.
There you go.
Right? Because it's like oh, damn, she got me. In the best way. Yeah. I was going to ask you if someone's listening and they're still thinking like, I can figure this out alone. I can figure it out on my own, what you would say to her. And you sort of answered that, but is there anything else you would add?
Yeah, I mean, I think sit with it and spend time with yourself, really, and ask yourself, why do you feel that way? Because there's not a wrong answer here. You can. And I said this too when I was doing full-time business coaching. You can completely launch a business and never get a coach and you would be fine. It'll be hard. It'll be bumpy, but you could still have a successful business. And similarly with my scenario here and trying to launch a nonprofit, can I do this on my own? Yes. Do I have the grit and resilience to do it on my own? Yes. Do I want to do it on my own? No. And so the answer is do you want to? When you ask yourself that and allow yourself to honestly answer it, that is the different part. And so for some of you listening, you may sit with that and ask yourself, do I want to? And the answer will be yes, because you want to learn, because you learn best by doing, because whatever the reasons are, because I don't have the financial resources. And so this is the best way I can make an impact now. Whatever it may be, that's perfectly okay. But if you sit down and ask yourself, do you want to? And your first guttural reaction is no, but you are avoiding a reason why you need help. And I can guarantee you it's almost never money.
Yeah. Because you do find a way. I find a way when I know. We do.
It's almost never about money. It's usually about the way I was raised, the beliefs I have today, a fear that I have, right? Like these longer term things. And I think that's why you said it best, like there's mentorship that comes with strategy. And it's why it's so important to pick someone that you feel like you can let your guard down with. And it's one of the reasons that you and I decided to do this behind the scenes, how we're going to do this, series. I couldn't remember the word series. Because I want people who want to work with you to know what it's like to work with you, because they should know right away, this is someone I can be me with. I can trust them. I can let my guard down. And there's other nonprofit strategists out there who are probably teaching similar strategies that you are, or who have similar viewpoints of the nonprofit world that you do. But maybe just relate with different audience, different people. And so you really want to make sure too, am I saying yes out of desperation, or am I saying yes because I found the right tool to help me with this stage of the game?
Yes. Thank you for that. It is so true. And I've found over the years with women, it hasn't always been easy because I'm a strong, powerful woman. So it hasn't always been easy for me to find my women that I feel safe with. And as I do, it is so empowering and safe. And I feel I don't want to do it alone anymore because I don't have to. I don't have to put my, I was going to say bad word, but like my big masculine energy out there, because I can also bring in my feminine and land safely and be all me.
Okay, I just have to tell you this. I almost wore a shirt from my favorite ice cream parlor today that says Big Dip Energy because the ice cream place is called Big Dipper. Dang it. I missed my opportunity. It would have been perfect for your statement.
That would have been so good. I did have to back up a little, like, oh, pull that back in, Lisa. We're not using those words today. But it is true. I find that with a lot of strong women, there is that kind of this energy, which is wonderful. But also, we need to blend both.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is not even nonprofit related, but just life related. Finding that balance, and I hate that word, but it is what it is, of I enjoy that I know how to fully step into my masculine energy and own it. I love that about myself. I am the most confident when I am like embracing that masculine. And so it's interesting because what I have come to learn over the years is I was getting stuck in that though. I didn't know how to turn that off and be feminine at home. I didn't know how to turn that off and be more feminine with my spouse, right? Like I wanted to own and control and move and direct. And like I was stuck in that energy for a long time. And so I think that's the other part too of finding your peers or your mentors and your tools that help you progress in the goals that you want to progress in, is that you can fully embody that masculine energy and become feminine again because you aren't stuck there. You see what it's like to have support. You see what it's like to have community. You see what it's like to not be alone or have to figure it out. And so it gives you more leeway to kind of flip-flop between the two and float between the two, depending on what situation needs.
Yes. Woo, you explained that so well. And I have sat in that masculine energy for decades. So I'm right there with you. And I'm grateful for it. I wonder, was I a man in a lot of past lives? I don't know. So, we rediscover the feminine, and that can be vulnerable and that can be scary as well. But also, we're kicking butt with both.
Yeah, there are plenty of days where my husband looks at me, he's like, you were kicking ass and taking names and not apologetic for it. And I'm like, and you know it, man.
And you love me. That's right. So I would like to know what you're most excited about going into strategic planning.
Okay, this one's a little bit of a cop-out, but just hugging you in person is like the number one thing on the list.
That's not a cop-out at all. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're going to have so much fun. And I've never been to Tulsa. So
yeah, you're going to get to come explore my favorite city that I've ever lived in, of all the crazy places I've lived. But, honestly, the strategy side of it that I'm most excited about is truly, I feel like the ideas are coming faster and heavier than they ever have. And I believe that's because this like portal is opening, like it's time to do this thing. And I need someone to give me the next steps. Like, I just need to know, okay, you have all the ideas. You're not missing anything. Now go do something with them. And so I oftentimes find myself in the position of, I am the person telling people what to do. I am the person, putting out the plans. And sometimes I want to be the person who doesn't have to decide that.
Yes. And thank you for trusting me with that. I can give that to you.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Yes. Last question for you. It's a finish the sentence question.
Oh boy.
So
Okay.
I know. But your core memories, that's going to be your events, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So a year from now, core memories will be blank.
Oh my gosh. Core memories will be partnered with a large movie theater chain, and we will be in dozens of cities.
Yes. Okay. Good answer. Like the Family Feud here.
Good answer, Bob. Good answer.
But I love that. I love that vision. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be here to witness it. I'm so excited for you, for the lives that you are changing. I mean, just the idea of families having time together to be present, to find joy, just to not have to worry about laundry and cooking and just be together. How refreshing is that?
Right? I mean, just even though I know how much work goes behind it, just talking about the day, I can feel what the core memory day feels like. And it helps me take a breath because I know what it's like as a mom to walk in and just want to be with my kids. And to know that I'm creating that for moms and dads and grandparents and, just families as a whole. They're called core memory days for a reason because they're going to be days that you don't forget because there wasn't going to be stress involved in getting there. There's not going to be stress while you're there, and there's not going to be stress after you leave. Like, we're just going to be. And there's not very many times in life in this season where you get to just be.
No. And showing our kids that, and they will want it more, right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, the ripple effect. Like, let's just be. What a beautiful way to move through the world.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for my kids to get to be a part of this and to share the tools that they've learned with other kids. And an example is just last night, my middle came to me and she was kind of worked up about something. And so emotionally, like she was jumbling all of her words and, just, how that is when you get fired up. And she literally was like, hold on, let me take a deep breath. I'm going to try that again. And I was like, she's 9. Do you know what I could have given to have that tool and that skill in my life? Like, I think about every boardroom and every meeting and every, one-on-one with a boss that I was in where I was just like so fired up and so amped up. And I thought, that's exactly it. That's the ripple effect, is that we're not stopping the chaos from happening. We're not stopping the stress from coming. We're not stopping bad from happening. But we are giving the tools and the resources to learn how to be in those moments.
Yes. And to advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I need a breath.
And as I told her, I said, you use your tools so good. I am so proud of how well you use your tools.
Okay, wait, how many Gabs? Right there, you just changed the world. How many of us could have used that? I know little Lisa could have used that for sure. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're right, to be able to not just do it, but vocalize it. That shows how much we're empowering kids to advocate for what they need, to maybe they don't get caught up in the rat race for as many years as we did. Maybe they don't introduce as much chaos into their life as we did. And that's what, at the end of the day, we all want, right? We want our kids to have better than what we had. And what better is independent definition for each person. But it starts with giving them the tools to find better. And so this is going to be a place where you get help to do that.
Yes. I needed to take a moment there and give my own breath of like, wow. That just sounds so wonderful. I'm so excited. Okay, so the next time we meet, we are going to talk about post-strategic planning. What worked, what you were like, I don't know about that, Lisa. What action steps you're taking, how things are going as you ramp up for your first event in April 25th.
Yes. Yep, we're going to do it that weekend. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right so now, exciting. The hope is in 2 cities. Lisa's going to tell me if that's level 1 or level 2 after we meet for our strategy session.
Did you see my face? I went,
yeah, I saw the eye. She's like, yeah, okay, I'm filing that one away for later.
We will talk about that in person.
First thing on the parking lot.
yeah. Maybe still at the airport. We'll see. No. All good. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Gabs, where can people find you?
We've got our podcast going, Overwhelmed and Over It. Now, at this point, all the kids have had their initial co-host episodes go out. So you can hear me ask my 5-year-old if all 5-year-olds are assholes and what her spicy opinion is about that. And all of the other kind of fun parenting questions that we all get stuck with. So we'd love for you to join us over at Overwhelmed and Over It on the podcast.
Great. All right. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.